The Buddha's Samadhi is not mind, it's heart, the Citta and Temcai secret. Samadhi, the word that we translate as concentration, is defined in the canon as Citta, singleness of mind. It's worth exploring the levels of meaning of that term. There's the singleness. Eka means one. Aga is a controversial term. Some people translate it as point, to convey the idea that your awareness should be reduced to one point, like the point of a pencil. But in Pali, it doesn't mean point. It means the summit of something, the tip, the ridge line of a roof, the top of something. It also means a gathering place. The Uposatha Aga is where the monks meet together to have their Uposatha. The Bhat Aga, the meal Aga, is where the monks meet to have their meals. And because we're said to enter and remain or dwell in a dwelling concentration, that seems to be the more relevant meaning. We have one place where we dwell, one topic that we dwell on, like the breath right now. Gather the mind around the breath. If you're going to be thinking, think about the breath. If you're going to be asking questions or exploring, ask questions about and explore the breath. You do this singly in the sense that this is the one topic you're going to focus your mental activities on. If you really want to know this, give it your full attention. As you go through the day, you have to split your attention between the breath and the things you're doing outside. But right now, while you're sitting here, there's nothing else you have to pay attention to. You can give your all to the breath. This connects with the two meanings of Citta. It can mean mind, but it can also mean heart. You want to do this with your whole heart. Ajahn Lee uses the term Temcai, literally full heart, which in ordinary Thai is an idiom meaning to do something willingly. But he also uses it to mean to do it wholeheartedly. Realize that if there's anything to be found in the practice, it's going to be found right here. Spread your awareness to fill the whole body. Or instead of thinking of spreading your awareness, you might think, wake up your awareness. That's another term that Ajahn Lee uses. Our awareness in our head tends to be pretty awake, but unless we're actively engaged in some physical skill, our awareness in the rest of the body seems to be pretty much asleep. You don't have the whole heart. You don't have the whole mind, fully awake, fully alert. So wake up your alertness in your feet. Wake up your alertness in your hands, in your arms, in your legs, in your torso, all around. If you're using a meditation word, think of every cell in the body saying that meditation word. If you're focusing on the breath in and of itself, okay, every cell of the body is breathing in, breathing out. Everywhere there's a nerve end. Think of its being awake to the breathing in and breathing out of every cell. Be fully present, willingly present, wholeheartedly present. All too often our concentration gets cut off because we're partly here and partly not here. There are parts of the mind that can think of other things to do, other things to think about. You've got a whole hour. You can give part of it to something else and then come back to the breath. That's what they say. But why fall for them? Remember, you're here voluntarily. You're here to meditate because you see that meditation is going to be good for you. The more you give yourself to the meditation, the more you're going to receive. So don't hold back. We sometimes have a sense of being perched in our bodies, like a bird perched on our shoulders, looking through our eyes, listening through our ears, but withdrawn from the rest of the body. Well, get back down into the body. Give it your all. It's only then that you can get the full nourishment out of the meditation. The Buddha talks about a sense of ease and well-being spreading through the body. This is how you spread it, by opening up all the channels inside, waking up everybody inside. Ajahn Lee makes a comparison with putting roads and running electric lines through a former wasteland, so that now you can have communication, you can have transportation coming and going. You don't have to push the breath around. Simply open things up in the body so that the breath can flow on its own. It's the same as when you build roads. You don't have to push the cars around the roads. Simply make sure that the roads are open and in good repair, and the cars will go on their own, smoothly on their own. The important thing is that you simply don't hold back. You give your whole mind, your whole heart to what you're doing right now. This is an attitude that you should develop to the entire practice. When you're sweeping up around the monastery, be fully there. Have a sense of your body, the whole body, involved in the sweeping. When working in the kitchen, doing whatever chores need to be done, be fully there. Sometimes we notice that we're doing a lot of sweeping while someone else is doing less sweeping, but remember, we're not doing it for them. We're doing it for us. Here's an opportunity to develop your goodness. Wholehearted goodness. Wholesome goodness. So take as much as you can by giving as much of yourself as you can, and you're going to gain a lot. The same with the precepts, especially for the monks. Sometimes they seem pretty daunting. There are lots and lots of precepts, and when you're first ordained, it seems like a huge demand. You used to have 5, 8, or 10 precepts. Now you have 227, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. It may seem superhuman, but it's not. Remember that the precepts are not meant to tie you down. The fact that you're following the precepts makes other people more inspired to support your practice. So the precepts give you freedom. I remember when I was a young monk. The first time that notion occurred to me totally changed my attitude toward the precepts. In the beginning, I put up with them grudgingly, not wholeheartedly. But then I realized, 1, I had the freedom to meditate all day because of the precepts, and 2, as I lived in the community, I noticed that whenever there was strife, whenever there was disturbance in the community, it was because somebody was breaking the precepts. Because the precepts are designed for freedom, the more you give to them, the more freedom you get. So you observe them wholeheartedly. You do your duties wholeheartedly. You're generous wholeheartedly. Follow the precepts wholeheartedly. It's a lot easier then to sit down and meditate wholeheartedly, fully present, with no regrets from the course of the day, no issues brought in from the course of the day, so you can give yourself fully to being right here. The whole body, your awareness of the whole body, can be fully given over to the breath, so that there's a strong sense of oneness. The breath is one. The body is one single sensation of awareness. The mind is one. Your heart is one. There's an intensity that comes from that. I've heard people say they don't like the term concentration for samadhi. It sounds too tense. They prefer lucid calm or collectedness. But the actual quality of samadhi can be very intense. When you fully give yourself to it, there's an intensity of well-being that comes with that, along with a sharpness of alertness that you don't get otherwise. So the more fully you give this, your whole heart, your whole mind, then the more fully you'll reap the benefits. Wearing the breath. We often say to watch the breath when you meditate, but that may be an unfortunate choice of words. Subconsciously, it can make you think that your eyes are somehow involved. And because your eyes are in your head, you're up in your head, watching the breath in another part of the body. But that's not the effect we're trying to get. We're trying to fill the body with a sense of awareness and a sense of ease. Think of the first 3 frames of reference for establishing mindfulness: body, feelings, and mind. As you meditate, you're trying to get them to fill one another. The mind fills the body. A feeling of ease fills the body. And the breath filling the body is the glue that makes that happen. So, instead of watching the breath, think of yourself being bathed in the breath or wearing the breath. It's all around you. When the Buddha describes the breath, he lists it as one of the aspects of the wind property in the body, which means it's an aspect of form. It's not the tactile sensation of the air at the nose or going over your lip. It's something already there in the body. So, ask yourself, where do you feel the flow of energy as the air comes in, the air goes out right now? Where is it most prominent? Focus your attention there and try to figure out which ways of breathing feel best. Again, you're feeling it, you're wearing it. It's what nowadays we call proprioception, your sense of the body as you feel it from within. The reason why we want to get our awareness all around is because when thoughts come into the mind, the fact that they're able to stay for a while means that there has to be a little bit of tension someplace in the body to hold them, like a little marker. And those patterns of tension can be anywhere. So, if you're focused at one point, say the tip of the nose, and you're trying to block out everything else, you're going to miss where those patterns of tension are. You're going to miss an important step in the meditation, which is to see thoughts as they arise and catch them when they're still in the process of forming. At that point, they haven't turned into becomings yet. A becoming is a world in the mind. You have a desire, and then a world forms around it, the world where that desired object is located. The next question is, where are you in relationship to that world? Usually, once your thought has gotten to that point, you're in the thought. You're out of your body. Then the thought can take you anywhere, but there are stages leading up to that point. In fact, the Buddha said, seeing the stages leading up to that is the way of getting round the dilemma of the fact that suffering is caused by the kinds of craving that lead to becoming. One of the kinds of craving that leads to becoming is craving for becoming itself, while another one is craving for non-becoming. In other words, you have an identity in a world and you want to snuff it out. That's the dilemma. We're trying to put an end to becoming. But if you sit here thinking about putting an end to a becoming that's already happened, it's going to create more becoming. What you've got to do is to see the processes that lead up to the fact of becoming and keep it in place, and develop some dispassion for them. The best way to do that is to be sensitive to the formation of a thought at the very early stages, when it's still just an inchoate desire, and ideally, even before it becomes a desire for anything in particular. It's just a desire for something else. There's a stirring of the breath someplace in the body, and then you identify it as a desire for this, a desire for that, a thought about this, a thought about that, and then you go with it. As a meditator, you want to catch it at the stage before you've slapped on that perception. So, we stay with the breath as much as we can. Try to settle in. Feel as if you're sitting here surrounded by breath, and your awareness surrounds you too. In addition to having that subconscious idea that we're watching the breath with our eyes and we're in our head, we also have the subconscious idea that we're facing forward. When you close your eyes, which direction is the mind facing? It doesn't have to face anywhere. It can be centered and then spread out, facing in all directions. That's the quality you're trying to develop. As the Buddha said, you want the upper part of your body to feel like the lower part of the body, and vice versa. In other words, up and down, front and back. You want them to be all equal, so that wherever there's that stirring in the mind, that stirring in the body, you're going to see it. It's like watching a play. If you're just focused on one point in the body, it's like being in the audience. Between scenes, they're going to lower the curtain to change the scenery. Once the scenery's in place, they raise the curtain again, and you're in the world of the next scene. As for the actors who are not involved in that scene, they're behind the scenes. You don't see them when you're in the audience, so you don't see the full production. Ideally, you want to be behind the scenes. You don't want your view to be blocked by a curtain. When they're moving the scenery, you want to see them move the scenery around. When the actors are getting ready to come on stage, you want to see them in the process of psyching themselves up to get on stage. That's when you really understand the production. In the same way, we're trying to understand the production of our thoughts. After all, where is the source of suffering? The Buddha calls it the origination of suffering. When he uses the word origination, 1, it means we have to look for the cause, and 2, we usually have to look for the cause in the mind. So, we're trying to understand our own minds. If you can understand your own mind, then you don't have to suffer. That's the simple principle. But working out that simple principle will require a lot of all-around awareness. So, try to fully inhabit the body as you breathe in, as you breathe out, so that your knowledge of the breath energy in the feet is in the feet. Your knowledge of the breath energy in the torso is in the torso. You're not trying to pull it all up into the head. Now, there will be a center, but it's good to have the center lower than the head. If it's up in the head, sometimes it aggravates the fact that the nerves in the head tend to be overworked in our culture. So, you want to familiarize yourself with what's going on in the body, all the parts of the body. This is why, when we give guided meditations, we take people through the body section by section. Know the navel in the navel. Know the chest in the chest, the hands in the hands, the feet in the feet. Open up to the awareness that's already there and see the energy already there. It may feel very still and motionless in some parts of the body, but that's okay. As long as it doesn't feel tight and blocked, it becomes a good place to settle in. Once your awareness is enlarged like this, you're more and more firmly established in the present moment. Your concentration is the kind of concentration that can actually look at other things and not lose its center, not lose its foundation. If your concentration is one-pointed, then when you change the point, you've changed your concentration. But when your awareness is all around like this, then thoughts can come into the framework. You can see them come in. You can see them go. You can begin to see the stages, but the framework of your concentration is not overturned by that. It's in this way that concentration leads to discernment, so that you can do concentration work and discernment work at the same time. And in this way, your discernment is guaranteed not to turn into thought worlds or speculation worlds. It's a discernment that sees the processes as they're happening, step by step, right here, right now, without losing this frame of reference. As long as it's based in this frame of reference, the whole body as you experience it in the present, you're more and more likely to see things as processes rather than getting into processed worlds and riding along with them. That helps to liberate you from a lot of unskillful thinking. It's in that way that you perform the duties of the Noble Truths, seeing clinging as clinging. In other words, a step before becoming. Seeing craving as craving, 2 steps before becoming. That's when you can do something about the problem of suffering. When you've slipped into a becoming, it's too late. So you want to be here, grounded, seeing things as processes. That's when you're sitting at the right place, at the right time, looking at the right things in the right way.